Hey everybody, this is Jim. Thanks for joining Song Tripping. And I wanted to do a year in review 2021. What happened with my record collecting habit between vinyl and CD? So let's get right into the retrospective here. I'm looking for patterns in my collecting, and I'm going to highlight some of my favorite acquisitions over the past year. So let's start with a milestone achievement. About 12 months ago, I finished cataloging all my CDs and vinyl at Discogs. Now when I'm in a store or at a sale, I can dial up the Discogs app and see whether I already have a record, because I can't tell you how many times I've bought doubles over the years. So that saved me quite a bit of money this year. And all year long, I've maintained the list. I've added the new acquisitions, and then I've deleted records that I've either sold, traded, or given away. So to look at some patterns and trends in my collecting habits, over the past many years, I've been trending more towards CDs than vinyl. And this is really evident in my Discogs records, so in my cataloging of that. So I think I only bought one or two LPs this year, and they were both used in the past year. And I did score some freebies on vinyl late in the year. I made a video about that not long back. So everything else has been CDs. And there's a couple reasons for that. Vinyl's too expensive. I think new vinyl is somewhat unreliable in the quality control department. And I have a lot of what I want already. So I'm trying to downsize my vinyl collection, curate it, and I'm giving away albums to people. Last Christmas, I gave a bunch of albums to some friends, and getting rid of my duplicates, selling a few vinyls here and there, and also trading in for store credit. So everything else is CDs. The other major trend is sort of culling the herd, I would call it. I am trying to downsize, especially the vinyl. But at this point, I'm starting to reach critical mass in the CD department, running out of shelf space. I had a big book collector too, so I've been really getting rid of books lately. So that's freeing up some shelf space. And as the vinyl reduces, that's creating more room for CDs. But I don't just want to stockpile CDs anymore either. I don't want to hoard them. But why am I actively accumulating CDs? It's simple. Nobody wants them. And they're dirt cheap. People can't give them away. And you can find really good stuff in the CD market, and a lot of new artists they still release things on CDs, and I did pick up a few new CDs this year too. Let's get right into how I fed my consumerist appetite this year, and I'll share some favorite dishes. We'll start with classical music. I really got into Mahler last year. And I was testing out I had a trial subscription for Tidal and Amazon Music, and I was listening to different versions of all his symphonies. And then I got interested in this box set. Leonard Bernstein, New York Philharmonic, The Complete Mahler Symphonies, a 12 CD set, and it's a budget box set. I think this was under $30, maybe 27 bucks, brand new. And that led me to some other classical box sets. Beethoven, all his string quartets performed by the Alban Berg Quartet, amazing 7 CD set on Warner Classics. Got that off of Amazon at a very good price. And then that led to Yo-Yo Ma, this cello box set, some of his favorite cello albums. And these are all these are in like mini LP format, which I love that on CD. And then that led to some massive box set purchases, and I'll share this one with you now. This is it's heavy. Bruno Walter, New York Philharmonic and Columbia Symphony Orchestra, the complete Columbia collection, and all these are in mini LP format, 77 CDs. I'm still listening to it. I'm getting near the end of it, and it's thoroughly enjoyable, and that's helped me to reduce some of all of my Bruno Walter on vinyl. I've been able to sell or trade some of those classic Columbia albums, which sound great on vinyl. I just don't want to maintain the vinyl as much anymore, and again, trying to reduce shelf space. The other big box I got, which isn't as big as that one, but it's really special, is Martha Argerich, the complete recordings on Deutsche Grammophon in mini LP CDs. 48 of these. I'm working my way slowly but surely through these. They sound great. She's become one of my favorite classical pianists, and it's just great to have so much of her in one place. In the pop rock realm, there was one box set that I did pick up in the fall, and that is Bob Dylan, Springtime in New York. These are early 80s, kind of going from the Shot of Love album through Infidels and Empire Burlesque, that period. Lots of great bonus tracks on this, 5 CD set with the booklet. Very nostalgic for me, and a kind of an unheralded period for Bob Dylan that's now being reassessed thanks to that box set. So those are like the big splurges. And then I slowed down with the classical sets because honestly, you can load up on these things and then you just never finish listening to them. But let me share now some favorite new releases, artists who came out with new albums this year. And we are going to start with Straubs, British folk rock, prog rock band, still around, led by Dave Cousins. They came out with, this is their pandemic album, it's called Settlement. And it's really worth getting this one on CD because yes, you can stream it on Spotify, but there's 1 or 2 tracks on here that are not streaming, at least the last I checked. Settlement, and even though they recorded this in separate places, sounds great. Really strong set of songs. Another favorite this year is Marilyn Mchugh and Billy Davis Jr., Blackbird, Lennon-McCartney icons, all Lennon-McCartney songs, given updated soul treatments. And they hadn't released an album, these two, in I think 30 years or something. And given their age, they sound absolutely phenomenal. They really haven't lost much at all. And like I've listened to that one many times, highly recommend it. That led me to getting their earlier album, I Hope We Get to Love in Time. I found this used at Jupiter Records in Delaware over the summer, and this was really nice. It's kind of hard to find on CD these days. Other new releases. Jackson Browne, Downhill from Everywhere. I got the CD of this. Really, really strong set of songs, very well recorded. I don't know, is he up for a Grammy for this? I'm not sure. Maybe he should be. And then Colin Haye from Men at Work. We were big followers of his solo career, love his solo albums, and he came out with a covers album called I Just Don't Know What to Do With Myself. And this came out over the summer. Lots of old 60s, 70s material, and he sounds just great. He can sing the phone book and sound amazing. Rumor, another one of my favorite singers, she came out with a live album, this live from Lafayette. I think this was recorded in London, and it was a live stream, and then they took it and made a CD out of it. Really good. A lot of songs from her 2020 album, that tribute to Hugh Presswood. Really good stuff. And then I bought that album off of her website because they threw in this at a budget price. This is an early band of Rumor called La Honda, and a very enjoyable listen. I See Stars is the name of the album. And yeah, it's a good one. I think it came out around 10 or 15 years ago. Okay, moving right along. Let's go to the category of new discoveries and hidden gems. So I'm always exploring new music, whether it's new old music or new music. And about a year ago, I picked this one up on eBay. Art Blakey and the Jazz Messengers, Moanin'. Jazz fans, I'm sure, will know this well. It's an all-time classic, and it lives up to its reputation. Just sounds amazing. I do have had some disappointment, though, when I made this order. I also ordered from the same seller, Lee Morgan's Sidewinder, and it was poorly packed, and the CD somewhere in transit fell out of the envelope, and I never got that album. So I had to stream that one. But the Art Blakey's great. Also, a lot of these were used CDs. Parliament, the Best of Parliament, Give Up the Funk CD. I got this at the local used bookstore. This is a used one I found over the summer. John Hassell, City, Works of Fiction. John Hassell sadly passed away this year. Rest in peace, John Hassell. You never see him in the used bin. So this was, I think I got this like not long before he passed away. This is an album I got for $1. Bill Frisell with Dave Holland and the legendary Elvin Jones. A 2001 album on None Such. Just amazing sounding record. And Tangerine Dream, Green Desert. I found this at the Salvation Army of all places. Really, really nice to, this is my first Tangerine Dream CD. And then one day I was in Goodwill shopping and I came into, somebody had dumped their bluegrass collection and I got a whole bunch of Tony Rice. I knew Tony Rice, and there's probably like 3 more where these came from. I knew him from the Blake and Rice album, Norman Blake and Tony Rice album. I have on CD and vinyl. I think I got rid of the vinyl. But there was a whole run of Tony Rice here, like most of his albums. So I bought them all. They were like $1 each or something. And really, really amazing. We lost him this year too. Rest in peace, Tony Rice. And then let's go to some vinyl. So one of the only vinyl albums I bought this year was this one, 123 Red Light, 1910 Fruit Gum Company, on the Buddha Records. This is great bubblegum music. Really, really a lot of fun. And I didn't think it was going to sound good because of the vinyl. I don't know if you can see this, but it's pretty scuffed up. But I cleaned it and it came out sounding fine. It was really, really worth the $1 I paid for it and more. And then a couple freebie albums that I got just about a month or 2 ago. These were from a record store that often puts free stuff out on their front porch. Barbara Jones Streisand. Really, really good sounding record. And she does a couple John Lennon covers that are just killer. Rolling Stone didn't like it, but what does Rolling Stone know? Maynard Ferguson, Chameleon. Really, this was a freebie. Sounds amazing on the Columbia label. Just great classic Maynard Ferguson. And here's a new CD I bought. John Cale, Slow Dazzle. This is a reissue on Culture Factory. They kind of have these cute little Obi strips. And Culture Factory, a lot of people don't like the mastering, but the packaging is very nice. They replicate the inner sleeve, and then they kind of give you this. It looks like a little mini LP record. Yeah, it's loud mastering, but I think it sounds fine. I have one other John Cale album that's on that label as well. So that was a fun one. And then another new one in the shrink that I bought because I couldn't resist it was Funkadelic, Maggot Brain. Just listened to this the other day. Before that I had only streamed it. And this is on Westbound Records, which I think is a subsidiary of Ace Records. Got some really good bonus tracks, but just 5-star album. What can you say? Classic funk. Moving right along, let's go to the category of favorite archival releases and reissues. So going back in history now, Bob Dylan came out with this set called 1970. It's a 3 CD package. I had pretty low expectations of it. Not low, but I just, I wasn't sure what I was going to get with it. But boy, it sounds great. If you got to be a pretty hardcore Dylan fan, because there's like multiple versions of the same songs as he's kind of exploring them, developing them. But like sound quality was great. And there's lots of stuff that he did with George Harrison on here. This was one of the better sounding packs that I got. Scott Walker 5 classic albums. Scott 2, Scott 3, Scott 4, and Till the Band Comes In. Most of these I think are on HD CD format, and they sound really, really good. Do you remember the song Magic that was a big hit in the early 70s? It was by a band named Pilot. Well, 7Ts Records released their 4 albums in a nice little mini box here. And this was very pleasant sounding. I'm going to come back and give it another listen. But there's more to this band than just Magic. I've been waiting for a long time to find this Monkees original album series at a good price. I finally pulled the trigger on it this year. Bought it new from Import CDs. And it's great to just have these in nice clean sounding CDs. It was on the Rhino Records label. And then I did spring for the George Harrison All Things Must Pass 50th Anniversary 2 CD box. This is a remix, right? And a lot of people weren't. It's a 3 CD actually. It's some people didn't like the sound of this. I was fine with it. And then John Coltrane 5 original albums. You can tell I love these 5 CD packs that you can get from places like Deep Discount and Import CDs. How about various artist compilations? I'm a big fan of compilations, and I'll just feature 2 or 3 of these. This one was really great. I love the packaging. Just a Bad Dream, 60 British Garage and Trash Nuggets, 1981 to 89 on the Cherry Red label. A lot of fun, like a lot of like sort of super obscure bands, and really, really nice packaging. The sleeves are great. Big recommendation on that one. And then I'm also a fan of these 100 hits budget compilations. They're 5 CD packs, and you can get them for somewhere in the neighborhood of $8 to $10 or so. And you get a lot of bang for your buck. This one just absolutely stunned me. The 100 Hits American Songbook, lots of vintage artists singing like vintage classic songs. And similar to that is the 100 Hits Jazz compilation, the best of jazz. It's kind of all over the place, but it's a really interesting playlist. And if you're not in the mood to stream, you can just pop the CDs in and enjoy yourself. So, as I've been downsizing my vinyl collection, sometimes I will trade the CD version of an album for the vinyl. Sometimes I'll keep both. Sometimes I need to plug holes in the collection for stuff that I just don't have on CDs by artists that I really love. So, and some of these are rediscoveries too, so stuff I might have gotten rid of and then I reacquire. This is a case in point, Stevie Ray Vaughan and Double Trouble, In Step, and it's one of the first CDs I bought back in the late 80s. It came out in 89, and I liked it at the time, but I guess not enough to keep it. So when I moved, I gave it away. And, you know, I found it for like $1 somewhere and tried it driving in the car on the way to work and back. And I think I enjoy it now more than I did back then. So that's a keeper. I also found Pink Floyd Umaguma 2 CD set at a very nice price at Jupiter Records. And this I used to have on vinyl. And then I think I gave it to someone when I moved, and it's nice to rediscover it. It's a good one. It's a mix of live and studio stuff. And sadly, we lost Nancy Griffith this summer, and I'm a big Nancy fan and had already had most of her albums on CD and some of them on vinyl, but there were a few holes in the CD selection that I wanted to fill. And not all of these albums are available on Spotify, so it took some doing to hunt these down online. But I found her 2012 album Intersection and The Loving Kind and Hearts in Mind. Again, not all of these are on Spotify. Winter Marquee, found this one used. A live album. and I think a couple others. There's so now I have all of her on CD except her very first album, which I have on vinyl. And you know, rest in peace, Nancy Griffith. What a talent she was. And then here's one that I have on vinyl, but I couldn't resist picking up the CD because I wanted to compare it. And it's on the Windham Hill label, Breakfast in the Field by Michael Hedges. Really amazing sounding album in both formats. At some point I'm going to do a shootout and we'll just figure out like what the merits are of either format. But really, really nice sounding CD. And then earlier in the year, I found Rickie Lee Jones's first album on CD. Already have the vinyl. But her other albums, I had about 3 or 4 of them on vinyl, and these were kind of culled from the herd because I wasn't listening to them a lot, and I just hadn't really revisited her. So I gave them away, sold them, traded them. And then just recently, I started finding her in the youth stacks. So these were all $1 ones. Flying Cowboys. This one is one I got rid of on vinyl. And then here's Naked Songs, the magazine, and there's about 4 other ones upstairs I've yet to listen to. I found a whole run of her just the other day, and for $1 each, I thought, you know what? Let's give her another shot. And here's an example of when you revisit someone, you can start to appreciate them in a new way. I'm really starting to like what I hear from Rickie Lee Jones. And she's still active, so she's going on tour in the spring. Oh, that's it for my yearly roundup. There was a lot of other stuff I acquired, but that's enough to talk about. Hopefully it wasn't too much. And let me hear in the comments what were some of your highlights in collecting this year in 2021. And we'll see what happens in 2022. I think I'm probably going to slow down on my buying and just try to enjoy what I've got. But you never know. It's an itch that needs to be scratched sometimes, isn't it? Thanks for watching. Please like, subscribe, ring the bell. Do appreciate it. Always happy to hear your comments too. Bye-bye.